Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Bream Fishing Project. In this episode, we are headed to one of my favorite places to chase bream all around the country. We're off to Forster with the Hobies, and this competition was run on September 21 and 22 of 2024. It was a great round. I really thought I could win it. Didn't turn out to be that way. Anyway, I'm going to roll the intros, and then we're going to talk about all the things that happened there, all things Hobie. Here we go.
Welcome to the Bream Fishing Project. This is where you need to be every Tuesday to find out all the latest tips and tricks to help you target bream on lures. You'll get to hear from some of Australia's elite bream competition anglers and see how they were able to achieve their results in competitions around the country. Now, here is your host, the 2019 Hobie Kayak Fishing World Champion, Andrew Deeth.
All right. So like I said in the intro, this is definitely one of my favorite places to chase bream all around the country. Nothing like getting in the racks and I'm trying to pull these big brutes out. However, this was a little bit of a tougher comp for me. I certainly didn't get the fish I was looking for, and it was relatively quiet, ending up in 22nd place with 2.24 kilos overall, which is what I would have thought I would have got for one bag. In any case, had a great time, and yeah, congratulations to the winners who, as you'll hear, smashed them in kind of different areas. So it was good to hear. All right, so I'm going to roll through the tides and bite periods and what have you. Now, anyone that was up there would know that we ended up running a lot against the tide. So running upriver when the tide was still running back out and running home, particularly on day two, in against the tide as the tide was coming in, which really runs hard at Forster. However, what's interesting, if you listen to the tide times, you'll find that the tides on paper looked really good. It's just they were just running about 3.5 hours behind. Anyway, let's run through those details and you'll get an understanding of that. Okay, so on day one on the Saturday, we had 61 in the fish activity wheel with a minor bite period at 6:36 through to 8:06 a.m. The major bite period was at 1:05 through to 3:05. Now, I'll give you three tides for this one. So the low tide was at 4:15 a.m. at 0.1. Now, at 7 o'clock in the morning when we left off, the tide was still running out, so some 3 hours later. High tide was at 10:35 at 1.43, with a low tide at 4:40 in the afternoon at 0.17. Same deal, the tide had only kind of just started to run out as we hit the finishing line. On the Sunday, the tides were a bit harder because it all pushed back a little bit. The minor bite period anyway was at 7:16 through to 8:46. The low tide was at 4:57, so just on 5 o'clock at 0.2, high tide at 11:26 at 1.41, and a low tide at 5:42 at 0.26. So yeah, for the whole weekend, the tides were about 3 hours delayed, which meant we pushed against it quite a lot. Anyway, all right, let's run through some of the divisions. So the Big Bream winner went to none other than Warren Allen. So leading on day one with a massive bag of 2.51, I think. He caught a Big Bream of 1.04. Monster Mover went to Adam Layla with no fish on the Saturday, backed it up with 1.38. The youth division went to Noah Buttigieg with two fish on day two at 0.61. Ruth Beeby took out the women's again with a total weight of 1.65. And I don't know how to say this. The angler, the Masters, went to Carl Dubois. Don't see how that can be right. Anyway, 2.25 he got. So there you go. And the reason I kind of hesitated a little bit on that was because I always like to beat Carl. And anyway, he beat me by 10 grams. He was 21st, I was 22nd. So there you go. All right, so we're not going to mess around anymore. We're going to get straight into the angler interviews. Here we go with Mitch Madison. Rightio, so coming up first in third place, we've got an angler dropping a three fish for 2.18 kilos on the Saturday. Backing it up on the Sunday with three fish for 1.22, giving him a total of 3.4 kilos and third place. Welcome back to the Bream Fishing Project, Mitch Madison. Welcome, mate.
Hey, DC, how are you?
Mate, I'm going pretty well, but not as good as you, mate. You've had a good round up there.
Yeah, I've hit a little run of form here this year, 2/3 in a row.
I know. Crazy times.
Yeah, crazy for me. But I only go, as everyone knows, I only go there to beat two people, and it's Grant and it's Jack. I think I got Jack 3 times in a row this year, and I think I'm 3-5 with Grant. 3-2 with Grant. So that's the real win.
Fair enough. I know Grant was pretty happy about it on pack-up day, just from memory.
Yeah, he threw all the toys out of the cot, didn't he?
It felt like it. It was a stay clear zone.
He fished hard and he fished everywhere. He just, like we spoke about it a fair bit, the fish weren't where he was.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is only going to fuel him to fish harder, I think, at Cooter.
Exactly. And look, let's be honest, Forster was a bit tougher this year than what we would have expected. I certainly didn't get the fish that I expected at all.
Yeah, same. Well, I ended up hooking him, but like out of sheer junk fishing like I usually end up doing. But it didn't fish the same, and the tides were tough. I think the big tides threw all the fish out and then made all the anglers paddle a lot harder.
They certainly did. I mean, realistically, you got 2.18, which was a good bag, but I would have expected maybe a dozen bags that size.
At
each
least.
day. So,
yeah.
Rather than just 3 or 4. So.
No, when I weighed in fairly early, I think on day one, and I expected to be maybe top sort of, maybe sitting around the top 15, maybe top 20, like with that sort of bag, with a couple of people usually coming in with 3 kilo bags and just your usual Forster fish, but they weren't really there. Well, they were somewhere, but none of us could find them.
Yeah, well, look, I reckon the fish were there. Like, we got some drone footage. Like, I got some, and Michael Eddinghausen got some as well. And I watched his YouTube clip from the Forster round. And mate, there was fish everywhere.
Yeah,
like in the paddock, you could see them rolling. There were good numbers there.
Yeah,
we
right.
just weren't good enough to get them to eat regularly.
Just weren't biting. Well, the 2 big fish that I got on day one, they were 240 tippers. They were skinny though. Neither one of them weighed a kilo, which you'd think a good conditioned fish that size should hopefully go fairly close to a kilo.
It should be a kilo.
Yeah, but no, they were just big heads and just skinny bodies.
Yes, yeah, I must admit, on day 2 I got a 32.5 fork, and it was all head. Like, it was just a big head and no body.
Yep. Who knows? Next year.
Yeah, next time. I'm looking forward to it already. Let's get into it. Did you get up there for a pre-fish on the Friday?
I did not. I got up there pretty late, actually. I did a quick trip to Queensland and then back down to Sydney to drop my son home on the Friday day, and then drove to Forster that evening. So I got up there about 8 o'clock on Friday night, rolled out my swag, jumped in it, and got up and got all sorted in the morning.
Fair enough. Sounds like a good plan to me.
Yeah, we got there.
All right. Well, what was your plan then? What you do? Or tell us how your day went, I guess.
Well, plan was sort of head up, sort of out the back of Cockatoo and up the lake a fair bit, sort of just having a look at the racks on the way up, sort of flicked at a couple of them on the way. I picked up 2 fish just off some floating racks, I think on a sprat, just a light sprat. Just as the tide changed, I started floating forward, and then all of a sudden I caught 2 fish. As soon as that fresh water sort of pushed up into those racks, I got 2 fish pretty quickly, and then it went a bit quiet, so I pushed up a bit further, and I ran into yourself and Simon up the back there, and then I ended up pulling 130 tipper all the way up the back off another sort of old broken rack. I think that one was probably on a gulp shrimp, I think. Oh, no, I was on aqua, just on your old salt and pepper aqua.
Worm hook or jig head?
140th, I think, jig head. So fairly light. I was only throwing probably 4-pound leader on. I actually had 4-pound on all my rods for the whole weekend. Bar day 2, I think one of my rods I went to 5-pound, which is pretty heavy for me. I'm usually the adventures of 3-pound sort of a guy.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So after that, I think I left you at about 9:30-ish, 10 o'clock, and I didn't know what to do. So I knew the tide was running in. I knew they would start to sort of push up and start feeding on the flats and around the mangroves and rocks and stuff like that. So I went back and just found a few rubbly areas and sort of big cracks running into the mangroves, and I just started literally throwing lures to not get them back again. It was the plan.
What sort of lures were you trying to throw away?
I was throwing really lightweighted plastics up in there, like your aquas, and I didn't throw any crabbies on day 1. And then what else did I throw out there? Sprats, And then just your little shallow divers like your pro lure, just little black cranks, and your camos. Love the camo color. And then pretty much any of the hurricane sort of shallow divers. And I hooked a few, and they sort of just done me on an oyster or something like that. And then I came around one little corner. There's my first decent fish. I chucked, it was at the Miller Rods Flats Freak, about 30 metres into the mangroves, not thinking about it whatsoever. And at one wind, watched a bow wave come over and smack it. And this perfect 40 centimetre fish swam to my boat, laid sideways, and just got in the net for me.
How good was that?
That was about as good as it gets, and about as arsey as it gets too. So all of a sudden, I threw I think a 28 tipper out and put a 40 tipper in. Sensational feeling. All of a sudden, I've got the urge to actually keep going. 15 minutes later, same deal. Threw right up into the shallows using, I can't remember what color it's called. It's the pro lure. It's like green and speckled on top, and it's got sort of an orangey belly on it or whatever it is, like a little peachy color underneath.
A crankbait?
Yeah, a little crankbait, shallow crankbait, and I was just bouncing it off the bottom where I could. And same thing, chucked right up into the shallows where it's the shallow cranks. I think at this point it was the super shallow, so they only go 100 mil under the water, and that was bouncing on the rocks. And I just watched this huge bow wave shoot straight across the top of the oysters and just smash me. I think it took 2 lunges away from me, and then same again, swam to the boat, laid sideways, and jumped in for a ride. So 2 40-centimetre fish in 15 minutes at around, I think it was around 11 o'clock. So when that tide was actually like getting a bit up there. So yeah, I think at that stage I had 2 40s and a 32. So I was pretty happy with that, and I was starting to sort of move back down towards the finish line. I ran in a Jack, had him going for at least an hour at this point, with him thinking I had an average bag of I think I told him I had 2 32s and a 28. And then I was like, oh, but I got 2 40s. And then I kept it going for a long time, which was sensational. And then I banged a 34 and threw the small one out. He goes, oh, you got a bag of 34s? I went, oh, plus the 2 40s. And he still didn't want to look in. He still didn't believe me. And he did wait till he was on the bump tubs to check it. I thought he would have checked it once we got back, but he waited till I walked up to the bump tubs, which was surprising. So I think that was my bag day one, the 2 40s and a 34 tipper.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said earlier, I thought with the bag weights being sort of 2.18, I thought I'd be up there, but only sort of top 15.
Yeah, that's right. Usually you'd be in touch, not up.
Not where I was sitting. Couldn't believe it.
So
pretty chuffed with that. Yeah, so everything came super shallow in 200 mil of water pretty much for most of the weekend as well. But yeah, for definitely on day one, that's where they all came from, just up in the shallows, just in places you're sort of throwing away $15.
Exactly. All right. Tell us about Sunday, mate. How'd Sunday play out for you?
So Sunday is a day that I struggle with in comps a lot.
Really?
Yeah, I get myself in good spots and then I generally choke. But this was a slightly better day. I went out, had Ryan, I got to the first set of racks. Ryan Honeybrook was right next to me and he goes, oh, you're in third, like I'll leave him alone. I was like, oh, don't worry about it. I said, we'll just work our way down the racks. We'll have a fish, and as the sun comes up, I said, it'll be good. And I pretty much just watched him bang a bag in like, I don't know, half an hour. I think I dropped three fish at this point, and I was thinking probably should have just told him, yeah, no worries, I'll fish it by myself. No, but it was good. I watched him just lock drag, pulling up a couple of good fish straight off the poles out of the racks, and that was pretty cool. I was getting a bit worried at this stage because I got to 8:30, 9 o'clock. I think I'd managed to bag maybe a 30 tipper. Getting real worried. The tide wasn't sort of coming up as quick as it was the day before, so I pushed up to a few other sections and racks that I thought they'd be with the flowing water while it was a bit shallower. And I was just starting to push up there, and I think I grabbed another 31 tipper and I think like maybe another 30 tipper. So I was struggling a fair bit. Again, by about 11 o'clock, I was very average. Then pushed around to where I sort of found them on day 2 near the end, where I found the good fish. And yeah, banged I think a 34 or 234s in pretty quick succession, just like I did the day prior. Still shallow divers, just bouncing them off the rocks and then hoping for the best when you hook up. Then after that, it was getting a bit late. I think it was about 12:30. I just kept grinding out, doing the same thing, and just couldn't find much happening. And then the media boat came up like it likes to do, and I hooked an absolute cracker right next to Gleno. Got it all the way off this oyster shoal that's probably 20 metres deep. Got it all the way off it, got it out in the channel, and it was just like, how good is this? This is it. This is the one that bumps me up, and got done on, seriously, it looked to be like 5 bits of cockleweed on the edge of the drop-off.
No way.
Just tinked me, and as I think everyone's seen on the Instagram post or Facebook post, I was very happy about it.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Oh, no, that's fine. I don't want to break my rod at all. But yeah, showed a little bit of restraint. Yep.
You did. Made everyone happy though, mate.
Yeah. No, it was, it's good when Chris is behind you on the media boat and you drop a fish like that and he doesn't say anything. He's just like, all right, we best just drive away.
Fair enough.
Oh, that one hurt me.
Mate, it is.
It was good. I think I hooked one more half decent fish after then and got done in the mangroves, but I sort of paddled back pretty happy with my bag. I couldn't do anything about it. And yeah, I think I only lost maybe $200 worth of gear all weekend.
Yeah, well, there you go. I was going to say, what was your lure count? Because there's a few there.
It ended up getting pretty up there. I actually went through an old bag I had at home and found a heap of chubbies. So I just rehooked them. They had rust stains on them and all the rest of it. But Forster Bream, they don't care. They don't care if they're new or old, cover in rust. They'll, if it's moving on near the oyster rack, they smack it.
I'll have a crack.
I saved a bit of money there, not losing brand new ones, but I would have lost at least 10 to 15 chubbies.
Right.
Yeah, 100%. But that's exactly what Forster does to all of us at one stage.
That's right. And that's why you grabbed all your old lures, mate.
Yeah, it worked out well. But then, went back to the weigh-in and was surprised. I think I got back, Grant had already had his hissy fit and packed the car up, even though we were in the same camp spot and driven out of the campground. So
no.
So then I cleaned up all my stuff. I weighed in. I was like, I'm going to drop out. So I'll quickly go pack up and try and catch up to Grumpy. And then I think got near the end there. I was talking to Jack and we went back out the front and I managed to hang on to a third. As I got back to the weigh-in, I actually thought I might have dropped to I was still in the top 10. So I was like, I'm still going to get a little card I can hang up down in the garage and it's all good. But ended up with a trophy to go with it.
Yeah, you got a trophy. And what else do you get to take home for a third?
I got an awesome little goodie bag with it. Heap of good lures in it. All the new stuff, like the new Daiwa prawns, all the rest of it. I think got $850 cash. The wife went, thanks for coming. That'll pay for, I don't know, her to go get her nails done and her hair done, and it gives me another free weekend for Cooter.
Oh, there you go, mate. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. And I take it she doesn't listen to the show that often.
Not this one, no, but she watches the live feed. So I think Chris coaxed me into it because that was my wedding anniversary on the Saturday. So he sort of coaxed me into talking about it. And I think I might have mentioned something about, she'll take the money for sure. And she rang me straight after I walked off stage and said, thanks for the coin. So I'll keep my mouth shut on stage now.
That's it, mate. Like I said, hard to argue with.
Yeah, definitely is. Yeah, but that was my weekend. It was good. It's always a good drive home with a check or a top 10 or something like that. Really happy. So I think I'm having a little run at maybe getting a top 5 AOY, which is like amazing since it's only taken about 6 or 7 years, I think. But hoping to sort of stay in that top 5. I think I'm just hanging on to. But yeah, I got blokes like Pikey and all the rest of it going to Cooter who are just lurking in the midst just to jump right up that leaderboard. So we'll just have to see how we go.
Absolutely. All right, mate. One more thing before we head off. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
Well, always fish at Adam Costas, as always, fishing.com. I've been wearing one of his shirts, hoping he would give me another one sooner or later. He's a tough man, that guy. obviously Hobie and all the boys there and Chris, like they help us out every time when I break my kayak, or they help me out with like my new kayak. Those guys are great. I grabbed a kayak off them demo the other week so I could take my son fishing. But anyone down there at Hobie are just sensational, and they'll always help anyone out. Even in that regard, just getting someone of your mates or family out on the water with you. So I've got to thank them. And that's about it. I and my wife for letting me fish on the anniversary as usual.
Very good.
I'll get in late on that one again.
No, that's all right. That's all right. She got a payout too, so she's cheering.
Yeah, she is. She's had 2 this year.
Very good. All right, mate. I know you got things to do, so I'm going to leave you alone. Mate, thanks for coming on, and I'll see you at Kuta.
Too easy, mate. Thank you.
Thanks, mate. All right, fishing.com.au, your one-stop brim lure and tackle shop. Pick up the latest tackle, including Muscle Vibes, Cranker Crabs, OSP bent minnows, Z-Man plastics, Eco Gear lures, and Daiwa rods, reels, and tackle. Same-day shipping. Shop where the world champion, the Australian champion, and the current ABT champion shops. Fishing.com.au, online or in-store at Shop 18/29 Kiora Road, Miranda. All right, so the ProLure Hybrid Shrimp was one of the latest ones to hit the market. Now, for anyone that hasn't watched it, I did do a YouTube clip. You can find that at the Bream Fishing Project, where I interviewed Greg Reed. So if you want to see what that's all about, jump over there, type in the Bream Fishing Project into YouTube, search for the video with our 2 very good-looking faces on the thumbnail. Anyway, so the hybrid shrimp plus the legs. Second thing I want to cover off is the Jackal Sison or Susan. I'm not sure what it is. So basically another version of a cicada. Now, I've not seen these in person, but I've been told they're pretty cool. So definitely jump on those. And the last thing I'm looking forward to, hopefully I'm just about to head to Camden Haven. I'm hoping I can get my hands on some of these Daiwa in-feet monster rolling cranks, deep running. So these things have like the biggest bib in the world. And I think they are going to climb all over structure without getting hung up. Anyway, haven't used one, so take that for what it's worth and get yourself over to fishing.com.au and get some on the way. All right, so up next in second place, we've got an angler that is no stranger to the Bream Fishing Project. He's been on here a bunch of times. He won the biggest round ever in the Hobie Series in Australia. Anyway, for this round, day 1, he dropped 3 fish for 2.16 kilos, backed it up on the Sunday with 3 fish for 1.53, giving him a total of 3.69 kilos. And second place, I've got Glenn Allen. Welcome back to the show, mate.
Hi, Andrew. How you going?
Yeah, I'm going good, mate. I'm going well. Not quite as good as you're going. You had a good weekend up there.
Yeah, it was good. It fished pretty good, I thought, but not a lot of fish, but yeah, enough to get a bag.
Enough to get a bag, and a reasonably good bag, obviously better than most. But did you look leading up to the comp? Did you get up there and have a bit of a look around?
Yeah, I got up before the pre-fish. I went up for the weekend and fished the lake. Caught a lot of fish up there. Couldn't get anything decent, and fished up around the racks on another day and caught plenty of fish again. Probably the same amount, but I just couldn't find any big ones in pre-fish.
Right. And what were they keyed into?
I found it was really weird. The first day I pre-fished around the racks, it was on the Saturday. When I went up, I got them on mainly cranks, and then up in the lake, it was mainly plastics.
Right.
That was different altogether, which is probably like what I do use around weed beds more as plastics, and mix it up with cranks as well. But yeah.
Okay, and then leading into the competition, did you get out on the Friday?
No, I didn't get up there till Friday night, so couldn't get off work.
Fair enough. All right. Well, mate, let's roll into the Saturday. Tell us how your day went.
Yeah, it was a bit different. I didn't really have a plan coming into it because I was either the lake or the racks. And on that morning, I thought, I'll just go up and do some towards the racks. And I just looked at the tides the night before, and I knew that water was going to be still running out a little bit, a bit slow, and it was going to be too low to fish where I wanted to go. So I went over to the bridge pylons and thought I'd spend an hour there and see how that goes. And straight away, I had my bag within 3 or 4 casts. So it started really well. I had one pretty good fish in there as well.
Right.
So it was a start.
So the first half an hour or so, you got your bag?
Yeah.
Right.
And then gone like 5 minutes. So it was a good start.
All right. So what'd you get them on?
I got them all on day 1 on crabbies.
Yep.
On a 1/16 jig head, and I think I had 6 pound leader.
Yeah, right.
I think I had maybe 1 doomy up on the poles, but I was pretty happy how that started.
Yeah. I was going to say, were they tied on the pylons or how'd it look?
Yeah, they're really tight. You had to get, like plastic, like right up against it.
Mm.
The water's quite clear and you could see them like just hanging in between the poles.
Yeah.
So you pretty much, I got them pretty quick and then I started teabagging them off the poles as the water started to run in.
Right.
That seemed to get them. But I think I had about the first morning, maybe 10 or so legals before I even left there. So it was a really good start.
Right. So you've done better in the first sort of half an hour of your comp than I did over 3 days.
Yeah. It was really good fishing there, actually. Yeah. I was surprised everyone kept paddling. I think it was me and Simon Maguire.
Yeah.
He pretty much got his bag there both days as well. So
yeah, nice.
It was good.
Oh, very good. Very good. All right. So where'd you head to then?
Yeah, as soon as that tide started to rip in a bit, it was getting too hard to fish the poles because the water was pushing into them sideways.
Yeah.
So I thought, right, I'll start paddling up to where I want to go. And I headed up sort of west from the bridge and looking for rock outcrops and, oystery rocks, stuff like that.
Okay.
That was my plan to fish them, not really wracks. So I'm not a real fan of fishing in wracks. So
okay.
I look for other stuff in between them, like flats or rock rubble, and that's where I got some better fish as well up there. I think there was one stage there I got about 6 bust-offs in the one spot, and I slowly upgraded my bag up there. I had a pretty good bag, and then when it was time to come back, I hit a couple more spots on the way back, and I got one off a boat hole on the way back toward, because I thought I'm going to head back to the bridge on the last hour, give it another go. It was really funny. Jack Demi was behind me, and I pulled a really good fish off a spot he was just about to fish, so it worked out good. He wasn't happy, but I got that, and then come back to the bridge for the last hour, and I upgraded another fish there.
Right.
So it was a really good day, but it was pretty simple.
Yeah.
A nice, easy day.
A nice, easy day. Nice, casual day in Forster, just braining them.
Yeah. It's a really good day one.
Okay. And, mate, how are you targeting the rocky points and outcrops and what have you?
Yeah, on the rocky outcrops, I was using a deep hard body and throwing it like pretty much over the rocks and just rolling it really slow. Pretty much just pulling my rod back just so it's bumping into the reef and rolling it off really slow, and they're coming off that reef and eating it. And that just worked really well. So I didn't get a lot of fish up there, but on day one, but they were good fish. So I can't remember the length of them.
Okay.
Yeah, they were good fish. Good start.
Yeah, very good start. And, mate, what hard body were you running?
Yeah, I was running actually one that Carl Tobias painted me. I asked him to paint me a couple of lures in like a muddy prawn type colour, and I've been doing quite good on them actually.
Okay.
That in like a bluegill colour.
Interesting.
And, yeah, so I was pretty happy with that. So got to tell Carl that when I come in. I was pretty happy.
How many did you donate over the weekend?
I think on that first day it would have been an easy half a dozen, I'd say.
Right, okay. Oh, that's enough to keep Carl busy.
Yeah, so I have to hit him back up again now. Make me some more.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, mate. So, look, you end up weighing in 2.16, which I think you're in maybe 6th place overnight, or 5th or something like that.
4th day one.
4th day one? There you go.
I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be wrong.
Yeah, and I think it was like 4th or 5th or something like that.
Yeah.
All right. Moving into day 2, so the tides are a little bit later, so there was definitely a lot more run out in the morning. What did you decide to do on the Sunday?
Day 2 was pretty much the same thing. I went straight over the bridge again. Me and Simon headed over there, and it was a bit different to the way that Simon, I think, got his bag before me this time.
Right.
And
good on you.
I was starting to struggle, but then I picked up a few fish as soon as the tide was running out when I got there, and then probably for half an hour, and then it stopped, and the fish pretty much come straight on as soon as that tide stopped.
Okay.
And then both days I'd pretty much go off the bites and it started running quite quick.
Okay.
I just couldn't get at them, sort of thing, really. They're that tight to the poles. So, I hung there till that tide started to push up again, and then pretty much headed up to the same spot I went on day one. It was quiet there where I went, so I had to look for somewhere different.
Yeah.
I had another spot up there that I'd done quite well a fair few years ago when I come second in
Okay.
that one as well.
Yeah.
And I went back to that spot and pretty much got a couple of upgrades there and pretty much just hung around there all day. I was quite slow compared to day one, but there's still a few fish, a lot smaller fish. So I think I done the exact same thing. Got later in the day and I headed back to the bridge and upgraded another one off the bridge and got
Nice.
busted up by a really big one.
Ouch.
Cost me. And I think, day two, I lost a really big one near the kayak first
Oh,
up in the morning. What to tell
no.
you about?
Yeah, that's
Which
right.
really hurt.
That's right. And that was so early in the morning, so that was off the bridge?
Yeah. All the ones off the bridge pretty much come off crabbies. And day two, I actually tried one of the old Samaki grubs that I had, which was working quite well as well.
Yeah, okay.
For some reason, better than the crabbies on day two.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was pretty. Forgot what I was telling you then. Yeah, the fish were a lot smaller up where I went near the racks up the top, and yeah. So I couldn't find the bigger ones, which cost me a bit. I
Definitely.
was hoping a couple of even the same sort of bag would have helped.
Yeah, same sort of bag would have got you home. If you had to go and do it again tomorrow, the same day, what would you change anything? Would you do anything different on the Sunday?
I probably would have hung out at the bridge a bit longer because I know there was good fish there, and I probably just had to be a bit more patient.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people, if catching fish, I've got to move. I just can't sit there and just keep throwing.
Yeah.
Which probably hurts sometimes. It costs me. But, yeah, if anyone's ever fished with me, they know what I'm like. I just keep moving.
Yeah, okay.
I can't sit still.
Oh, there you go. Well, either way, mate, it was a pretty decent comp. You caught a bunch of fish. You obviously ranked highly. Yeah, no, that's pretty good.
It was pretty good. I didn't catch a stack of fish, but just enough to do quite well. I think maybe a dozen or more on the first day.
Yeah.
And then second day probably the same, but yeah, just smaller fish.
Just smaller fish. Fair enough.
And I actually had on day two, actually, where I was catching them on day one, they were gone completely. I don't know if it was because the wind died off.
Yeah.
It was quite glassed out. So I ended up finding them day two on some oyster rocks that had a lot of current on them.
Okay.
They just seemed to be sitting in that, just behind the rocks. And yeah, just couldn't get the good ones. All the good ones I did hook just kept doing me up. So
Yeah, okay. Okay. And what sort of rods were you using to pull them out?
all my rods are Samaki rods. They're not, I can't think which one it was I was using that day. I just got two of the new V3s.
Mm-hmm.
One's like a flats rod and one's like a plastics rod.
Yeah.
Can't remember the models of them, but I was just going between them with a crank on one, and I had a plastic on day two as well, which I was doing quite well on. It was actually the same old Sparky boom baits.
Yeah, okay.
Just on like a light jig head.
Yeah.
Doing the same thing, just winding over the reef and dropping them over the edges.
Yeah.
Which was working quite good day two.
Definitely. It's a bit of a pattern. The few times that we've spoken, that's quite similar to what you normally do.
Yeah, I pretty much fish the same way. I pretty much always have plastic on and a crank.
Yeah.
Mix it up a bit. Try and work out what they're taking on the day.
Yeah.
You definitely find one day they'll be eating cranks, and then the next day they'll be eating plastics for some reason. I've got no idea why.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. So I think sometimes you just got to keep changing it up and see what they want on the day.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, mate, that's pretty cool. I don't think is there anything else we need to talk about with regards to the fishing?
Not that I can think of.
Yeah.
I just really enjoyed it. It was good up there. I hadn't been up there for a while, and it's good that they had the comp back there again. Yeah, it's just one of those places that has a bit of everything for everyone, and yeah, it's enjoyable to fish, I reckon.
Yeah, no, it's definitely one of my favourite places. I know it's not, it's common knowledge the tides were a little bit wrong, although on paper they look good to me, but they were definitely out by an hour or two.
Yeah, they definitely were.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll take that into account next time.
Yeah, I remember day one, when it was time to head back. I was going to go back a different way, and the current was ripping out.
Yeah,
one way, and then I went around the corner. I was going the complete opposite way.
Going the other way.
I don't know what's going on there.
Fair
but
enough.
I hadn't been able to get back, and I was panicking there for a while, thinking I hope I can get back in the current, but it wasn't too bad going back.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, mate. Tell us, for second place, what did you get to take home?
I think what I got now.
You got 1,305.
1,305, yep, that was it.
Yep.
Think about it. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, pretty tidy for a weekend's fishing.
Yeah, come in handy. Your Redos at the moment, so that's where it went, straight to that.
Straight to that, which is good, which is really good.
Yeah, so
All
it's
right.
gone, but
I said gone, but still good.
yeah, that's it. And another thing, I made the AC, so I was pretty happy with that.
Yes, you're a step in front of me there. All right, mate. One last thing before we head off. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
Yeah, I'd just definitely like to thank James from Hunter Water Sports. He's always willing to help me out and with the kayak and everything like that. And also Samaki, Josh Lowry from Blue Water Imports, and also Dizzy Sen helps me out with some sen as well, which I've been using for the last couple of years. Seems to help get the fish to stay on. So yeah, so I thank them for sure. And definitely Hobie for putting on some great comps. They do a really good job.
Absolutely, it was a good comp. All right, mate. Congratulations. Thanks once again, and mate, good luck at the AC.
No worries. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thanks, mate.
I'll talk to you soon. See you on the weekend.
I'll see you on the weekend. Yeah, bright and early.
All right.
Thanks, mate. Bye.
Yeah.
All right, if you're in the market for a new fishing kayak or looking to make some upgrades to your existing kayak or possibly looking at kayak fishing tournaments, then HWS is the place to go. They have a full range of Hobie kayaks, stock the latest kayak accessories, and are really dialed in when it comes to the best kayak fishing setup for the casual fisher and the tournament angler. hws.com.au, online or in-store at Shop 3/638 Pacific Highway, Belmont. Free delivery on Hobie kayaks across all Greater Sydney, Central Coast and Hunter. All right, if you're in the market to get a new kayak or jump into it, there's two things that we've got going on at the moment. First of all, you've got the ex-Australian Championships Hobie Compass kayaks. So these things are fully rigged with live wells, sounders and all that sort of stuff. They've been used for 3 or 4 days for the most of them. So they're quite new, but at really discounted prices. So if you're interested in those, jump over to hws.com.au to have a look. Otherwise, we've still got the passports on sale. So these are, you've got the 10.5 and the 12 foot under $2,000. You're not going to see these at these prices again. Once they're all gone, they're gone. So equally, jump over to those. Maybe go and see James and have a look and pick which one you like. Anyway, hws.com.au. All right, so coming in first place for the second time in 2 comps, we've got an angler dropping 3 fish for 2.21 on day 1, backing it up with just 2 fish for 1.59 on day 2, giving him 3.8 and the win. I've got Luke Rogan. Welcome back to the show, mate.
How you going, Davey?
Mate, I'm going pretty well.
Good to be back.
Yeah, mate. 2 in a row. How good's that?
Yeah, that's awesome, eh?
And you've been winning some other things too, which I've still got to get to. So yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah. Oh, mate, I figured we'll do this, get this one done, and then we'll come back. We've got, I think, Queensland Team Series. Anyway, we'll come back to that. Mate, 5 fish for the win. That's unusual. It doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, five decent fish, I guess. For Forster standards, they're not monsters, but anywhere else would have been happy with them. Like I said, I came back not thinking that I thought I might have made top 10 with that bag that I got on day 1, but it was obviously hard for everybody. So
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, mate, we've got a lot to talk about, so I reckon we get straight into it. Tell us about what you did for your pre-fish. It was a little bit different.
Yeah, well, me and Tyson, we went up sort of like up around the canal areas. Sort of, I'd never been up there before. I just wanted to have a bit of a look around. So I fished in there for a little while. I got a couple of good fish, but no numbers though. I was actually quite surprised, like, because being a canal fisher, I thought I was going to dominate in there, but it wasn't that easy.
Yeah.
But fished in there for probably a couple of hours, and then just went out and fished some flats and some sort of like edges, found some things, and I wasn't planning on fishing up there, but Tyson wanted to just sort of find some backup plan sort of thing. So he went out into the lake and found some new area, and I just potted around and had fun, had a ball, catching brim and giant flathead. Yeah,
mate. There was a few big flathead caught. But how did you find the canals compared to at home, so up around Gold Coast and that sort of area?
It was really weird, but when I first went in there, the tide was super high, and I didn't even realise that there's docks pretty much the whole way around it, and they were actually underwater.
Right. Interesting.
And I didn't realise till after, like probably an hour after or 2 hours after that, I was like, oh shit, okay. And as it started to drop away from them, is when I actually started to get fish. So they're obviously underneath it.
Yeah. Okay. And in terms of lures, what were you getting on up there?
I was throwing bent minnows, and I think I got 2 good ones on crank crabs.
Okay. Fair enough.
I threw heaps of plastics and all sorts of things just trying to get a bite. I threw the muss. First cast on a boat hull, I threw the muss and got smashed. I didn't even know what it was. I was like, what the hell? Like, I wasn't even ready for it.
Mate, 2 kilo for sure.
Probably.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Well, mate, let's set you up. In any case, you caught some fish, which I always found good leading into comp day. So tell us how you went on the Saturday, how you went about catching some fish.
So Saturday, I just went into the paddock, really. And I had a plan in my head that I was just going to stay there the whole time and just try and nut something out. And I think it took me about 10 minutes until I landed my first fish. Just throwing topwater on real heavy gear. Like I was literally throwing my edge snapper rod with a 2500 with 30-pound, I think it was like fins on it. It's not like something real abrasive resistant.
Yeah, right.
That's what I was getting them on. And I just sort of caught a couple, moved over, fished a little bit different area, got nothing there, went back to the same spot, got another one, just on and off all day. I caught without rubbing it in because I know lots of people struggled, but I probably caught 30 solid, like over 35 centimetre fish.
Wow.
And I lost some really big ones too.
Wow, that's crazy. Okay, to put that into perspective, I fished the pre-fish and the 3 days of comp. I caught 8 legals for the 3 days. So, yeah, got me.
Yeah, well, like I said, after catching that first one, I was like, oh, there must be some fish here. So then I decided to stand up and I was like, yep, there's lots of fish here. And they're really big. So I could see them flanking on the top of the rack. That's kind of what made me stay there the whole time.
Yeah, right.
I was just trying to get them to bite. So,
all right. So you were fishing, 30-pound main line, and I think we said thing you're using maybe 14-pound leader. Is that correct?
Yeah, 14-pound. I think it's called Super Hard, the OSP. Oh no, it's Torre. Sorry.
Okay.
It's really abrasive. I was actually quite surprised because I thought I brought 20-pound with me, but I didn't.
Right.
And that's all I had. So I was like, well, this is all I got. This is all I'm going to have to use. But like, I was able to extract some pretty big models out with that, and yeah, it's actually really, really tough. So
yeah. So you got it around some structure then, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like some of the brim they'd stitch me up like right under racks, and I was still able to get them out. I was actually surprised. They're just like some of the. I just pulled everything in, like just literally skull dragged them in.
Yeah.
But some of them they're just too big. You just can't. You just got to, because they get the head down so quickly, and then once they get the head down, you kind of got to wait a minute just to sort of get them to come back over the top of the rack, and then you're going to rip them. So
yeah. So tell us how it looks when you wind one of those in.
They just skip along the surface, and then you flick it up into your kayak, and hopefully it doesn't fall off.
Yeah, fair enough. And what kayak are you in?
Hobie Pro Angler.
A Pro Angler. Okay, so you're not on a Lynx where if it's flipping around on the surface, you're in a bit of trouble as well.
I don't think I would have landed anything because I was literally just holding them into my lap. Like most of the time I was standing up, so it was like, I think some of them were above my head before they actually come down into the kayak. So
nice. I like it. All right. Yeah, tell us about some of the fish you caught.
Like I caught so many, but like some of them are really big. I think probably would have been my third fish to put in my bag was a really, really huge fish. And I just literally, he followed it from one end of the racks to the other, and then I paused it because I didn't want to stop because I didn't want him to eat it yet. So this is on the bent minnow.
Yeah.
And then probably 3 racks before I was like brought it in, I just paused it and he just ate it, like fully ate it, like gone right down his gob.
Right.
And I was like, yes. And as soon as I seen that he'd had it properly, I just started winding, and I got it all the way to the edge, and I leant down to get my net, and he just went, nope. He was that big and strong. He just literally just went straight under.
Yeah.
I literally had him on the surface, like with pressure on the rod, and he was able to pull my arm down and go under the rack and got me.
Gotcha. Oh no. And you bent minnow.
Yep. And another bent minnow. From what I understand, you must have been casting across 3 or 4 rows of racks. Is that right? Probably 7.
Okay.
I wasn't stuffing around, yeah.
Yeah, wow. So you're doing a couple of things. You're covering a lot of water, and you're also a long way from you. so they're not going to be spooked.
Well, I think they were actually sitting right out there. I think they were following it from out in the middle of nowhere, like where probably people don't cast very often.
Right.
And because the way I work my bent minnows, it's kind of like I don't work them very fast unless I don't want them to eat it yet.
Yeah.
And that's why I sort of like, I'd just be like, I'd slow twitch it until it gets them, and I can, because I could see them. I could see them flanking on the, like right out there, and I was just casting at them, and hopefully the big one that I'd seen flank would come and eat it. So it was just crazy. It was good fun.
Yeah, it does sound like a lot of fun. With your bents, are you changing the hooks out on them at all to do this sort of stuff?
Yeah, I actually had to. So normally I put size 12s on them, but I put the biggest hooks I had in my box.
Yeah, right.
Just so I could skull drag them without them bending. So
yeah,
I found out after the first couple of lost fish that the normal little hooks don't cut it.
They're not going to cut it with that heavy gear.
Nah, not when you're really, like, I was really sanding it, like, because like I said, I lost a few good ones, and I was like, the hell, how can I catch these fish, sort of thing.
Yeah. All right. In terms of putting your bag together, how, like, the fish that ended up in your bag, did they come throughout the whole day, or did you get them early or late? Or
I got a decent bag in probably an hour and a half, I reckon.
Yeah.
Like, bought some smaller ones, but like, I forgot my cull kit. So I was doing the old, I think this one's bigger, but I didn't catch anything really small. Like, honestly, they were probably all over, like, I reckon 34, 35 probably would have been the smallest bream I caught for the weekend.
That's insane.
I didn't get any, like, just tiddlers. It was real weird.
I'm looking, it's funny because you caught good fish, but you're only just ahead by like 110 grams. There wasn't much in at the end.
No, well, I thought I was coming in with like 2.8 or something like that. Something like up towards that pointy end because of the quality of the fish. And to just weigh 2.2, I was sort of a bit like, oh, shit, all right. They're a bit skinny on, you know?
Yeah. All right. So you had, like you said, you had the 2.2, what did we have? 2.21 on day one. Where were you on at the end of day one? Maybe third or second?
Second, I think, or third, yeah. One of the two.
Second, I think. Yeah, second
I think.
Behind Warren.
Yep.
All right.
Because he was worried.
He was worried. Tell us about how Sunday went for you.
Oh, Sunday was a hard day. So I went straight back to the same spot with the day that I had on day one. I thought, I'm going to kill it here. I was like, you guys are all stuffed. Because it wasn't until sort of halfway through the day that I actually nutted out how to land these big ones, you know?
Yeah.
I had some okay fish, but I literally upgraded everything like on the night after day one, and I was like ready to go to war pretty much, and it just nothing eventuated.
Right.
And I was like, I think it might have been about 10:30 where I caught my first fish.
Yep. Ouch.
Yep. And then I was starting to brick it a little bit, as you do. So I knew that if I stayed there, I'd eventually catch them. But then I had a couple other guys come over and sort of in the same area that I was fishing, and I was like, I couldn't really move around a little bit like I was on day one.
Yeah.
I didn't even see anybody all day except for on the way back.
Yeah. Everyone went straight past.
Yeah, literally. So I think it might have been, I probably had about 20 minutes to fish, and before I had to head back, which is when I caught my second fish, which was probably my biggest fish for the whole entire comp.
Right.
That I landed anyway. And I just went around the side, and I actually cast at the same rack system, but just on a different angle. And first cast, I just hooked him, and he just came straight in. He actually didn't even do anything.
Right. Okay.
Same deal. He actually I changed it up. I threw a Dog X Junior.
Yep.
And he ate it so deep that I was almost not going to try and get it out.
Yeah, right.
Couldn't believe it. It just engulfed it.
He just got it.
Yep, pretty much. I was like, well, that's why you're coming in easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did eventually. I got it out, and I thought I probably got to have about, 10 more casts, but I just had a few follows, but just couldn't get them to commit. But so I thought I'd just time to head back anyway and put my head between my legs.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I've said in the intro, it's to win with 5 fish is not very common. But having said that, you had 1.59 on day 2 for 2 fish, which was better than most people's bag for 3 in reality.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
like I said, I had one of them was a real good one. I probably should have weighed it, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, fair enough. What did Big Bream go? Let's have a look.
I think 1.2, I think 1.1 something.
Yeah, 1.04, mate.
Yeah, I definitely lost fish way bigger than that on day one.
Fair
But
enough.
that's fishing.
That is fishing. That is fishing. So, okay, from what I understand, you got most of your fish on bent minnows. Which ones were you? Do you have the 86s or 76?
Yeah, 86s. 76s. I couldn't throw the 76s far enough.
Yeah.
I found that the 86s with the upgraded hooks, I can't even remember what size it is, what size the hooks were, but it actually made them swim a bit shit. Like, kind of made them sink a little bit, but I had to. Like,
Well, you have to be able to extract them. If you're trying to lift them over a fence, you got to have a decent hook.
Right. Exactly. I was virtually flipping them over my head trying to get them in. So
yeah, right.
It's not something I thought I'd be doing on Friday pre-fish.
No, not from the canals. So with the fence, are you leaving the clips on the front or you taking them off?
No, I'll leave them on.
Leave them on? Okay.
Well, actually, no, sorry. So on the smaller ones, I leave them on. I only leave them on when I'm fishing flats, but there's no way I'm leaving them on in there.
Yeah.
They're very strong, but every now and then you get one that just pops open, and it's always when you catch a really big one.
Yeah, well, that's why I asked. If you're trying, like, where are your weak points? Your weak points are obviously your hooks and rings.
Yes.
And then knots and what have you. At 14-pound leader, you're not going to snap any part of that in a hurry unless it gets on something. So,
and my FG knots are pretty bulletproof. Like, I could probably swing off a tree with them, so I'm pretty
confident.
I know that's nothing good. Yeah.
So how are you tying them? You tie like you got a tool or you by hand or?
No, just by hand.
Yeah, just practice.
I've just been doing it a long time, and I think doing it with brim stuff, and I do a lot of barra fishing and stuff like that, and it just, I don't know, I can do it with my eyes closed, literally.
Yeah. It's an interesting one because I remember when it first came out, everyone like, this knot is so hard. And now, to be honest, I had to tie a double uni a little while ago. I struggled to tie the double uni. I can do the FG easier. So
yeah, because you're like, well, how do I do this again? Do I go around there, over that? Yeah.
That's it. And just getting it to line up, getting the line to lay right. Yeah, FG all the way. So,
yep.
Oh, there you go. And one last thing on the fishing. What colour do you like in the bent minnow?
They were clown.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
I did throw, I've got another one there. I can't think of it. It's like a greeny chromy sort of colour.
Oh, yeah.
I did throw that for a little while and got a few fish on that too, but the white one, I don't know what they think it is, but they love it.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, mate, I reckon that covers the fishing. That was a pretty fun event for you, I would say, apart from, I guess, Sunday was tough.
Yeah.
But Saturday sounds like you had a great day.
It was fun. Like, even my pre-fish was fun, like, I just went away with the whole, I just want to go fishing. Like, been working so much lately that I love fishing in places that I don't get to fish very often.
Yeah.
Or if I haven't fished there ever before, because I think it's all about discovering how to catch them.
Yeah.
And if you get onto them and get lucky, you get lucky. So.
Yeah, exactly. And Forster, for me, is definitely one of my favourite systems. It's just fun trying to rip brim out of places they don't want to come out of.
That's right.
So, yeah. All right, mate. I reckon that's a great rundown. Tell us, for first place, what'd you get to take home?
I think it was like $2,500, I think, something like that. And I got a nice St. Croix rod as well, and a big pack of lures and some pretty cool stuff in there, which is awesome.
Yeah. And you qualified again for the grand final or the AC?
Yep.
So
got myself some extra points.
Yeah. No, done quite well. Now, are you coming to Kuta?
Yep.
Okay.
I have to.
Yeah, fair enough.
I have to do 3 in a row.
If you can do 3 in a row, that'll be very impressive.
I told Tyson, I said, if I do 3 in a row, I'm going to retire.
Well, there you go. Go. I'm not hoping for that, but I do hope you get 3 in a row. That would be nice.
I'd just be happy for no donut down there, to tell you honestly.
You won't donut.
Hopefully not.
Fair enough.
It's been a while. I've had some bad experiences down there and there's some really good ones. So
yeah, I think this is going to be one of the good ones for everyone. I think it's going to be a good round.
Well, that's good. Hopefully they're on. So
yeah,
and we don't have no crazy weather happening.
Let's hope not. All right, mate. Before we shoot off, who would you like to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
Obviously, my lovely wife for letting me do all this crazy stuff.
Is she in the background?
Nah, she's not here. She's
fair enough.
Yeah,
I thought she might be.
Something. No, not now. And Fish Tech Solutions, they've been looking after me for the last probably 4 years or something now, I think.
Okay, and tell us what Fish Tech cover.
They do edge rods, OSP. They do all sorts of stuff. They've got new baits rods, reels as well now, some bait covers.
Nice.
I haven't got myself any of them yet, but I'll be getting them because they just look like they're state of the art. So
nice.
But yeah, they've given me some. I've been using some new rods that they've got out at skeleton grips. I think I went through that in the Gold Coast round, but I'm loving them. So I think I'm actually going to get rid of a few older ones and buy a few more of them. So
yeah, cool.
Yeah. So obviously, and Hobie as well, obviously, for running an awesome event.
Yes. Yeah. It was a good event. So very good, mate. All right, mate. This has been a great little run for you. Thanks for coming on the show. And I will be chasing you up about the QTS in the next couple of weeks.
Cheers, mate.
All right. I'll see you at Cooter.
See you, mate.
See you, mate. All right. So there you have it, everybody. I did miss one thing in the divisions. I missed the Batman and Robin division. And of course, Tony Petty up in the top 10 is Batman. So there you go. Listen, this comp was a really fun one for me. I really enjoyed being up there. And given the changes in Forster, the racks where I normally fished were not the same anymore. I didn't get fish from there. So I learned some new areas that I'd not been to before and had a really good time. So yeah, definitely new areas is always very cool. All right. And in other news, I think as I'm recording this today, we're halfway through the 40-day challenge at Sacred Soul Yoga. So I've done it. So we're now day 21. And out of those 21, I've missed 3. So it's been pretty good and definitely noticed some changes. So the regular practice is very helpful. If anyone's interested, just reach out to me and I'll hook you up with that. And also for anyone that's not signed up to the Bream Fishing Project Collective, we're in our second round of focus. So some good things going on there. If you're interested or you just want to support the channel, you just go, hey, I'm liking the content. I just want to be a part of that. Head over to breamfishingproject.supercast.com and you can sign up over there and become part of the crew. And one last thing, the Bream Fishing Project shirts, we've got those in, a couple of dilemmas there. Anyway, they've now become a limited edition due to let's just say the microphone placement. Anyway, if you've pre-ordered those and haven't actioned it, then jump on those. If you want one of the limited edition ones, let's put it this way, the microphone is in an interesting place. Moving on from that, I have reordered the vast majority of them without the microphone, slightly different positioning of Bev and the Bream, and I'm looking forward to seeing those somewhere around about Christmas time, maybe a little bit after. Hard to know. All right, I'm going to wrap it up there. It was great to talk to you guys. I'll see a few of you up at Camden Haven, and I'll look forward to talking to you next week on the Bream Fishing Project.
Thanks for listening. Hopefully you were informed, inspired, and entertained. If you were able to learn something or just enjoyed listening, please consider subscribing and rate us on your favourite podcasting platform.